Hello everybody, good morning. So for some of you it's already afternoon, but it is Monday the 22nd, and so here I am and we are going to do a little bit of memory keeping today. So I'm not going to get real deep into all the ways that you can do that. I do have a basic page design that we're going to talk about today, and if some people just kind of stay away from doing some scrapbooking or memory keeping because they just don't really know where to start. I like how I've got these wings. My wings are worse than normal today. So, I'm going to give you a place to start, and I'm going to talk to you about a real simple page design that is easy to do. And we're not going to complete the entire thing today, but I want you to, have an idea of somewhere that you could start. And, you can do scrapbooking in a journal. You could do it, I've seen people do it even on a calendar. So, there's all kinds of ways, excuse me, that you can do some memory keeping. I like to call it memory keeping. Although I'm afraid if people are looking for scrapbooking, they're not going to, find out that we've got any information about that. Hi, Sue. And so that's what we're going to do today. And like I said, I'm just going to show you a real basic, thing for that. So I'm Christy here at My Artful Adventures. And I see now when I move to my next section for the desktop. Last week I had terrible issues with my internet. They are doing some work in our area, and so supposedly it was supposed to make it better and faster, but I had been having problems for probably like 3 weeks before that. So I don't know if they were doing some things in the area before they even gave us a notice, or I'm not really sure what was going on. But anyway, it seems to be resolved, and I am thankful for that. We're also going to talk a minute about photos. Oop, let me move my coffee somewhere out of the way. I'll just set it back there. So, we're going to use a scrapbook paper kit today, or just a paper kit from Close to My Heart, and it's called Sweet Memories. Let me put you down here to the desktop, and oh no, I am still in the little circle there. So you guys, I had I was just getting ready to come on, and I realized that I had not plugged in my microphone. It uses the same cord as one of my printers does, and so I had moved it over there for my printer. And the other day when I was having so much trouble, and I even had to make it like it was installing a new printer because it didn't like it. It wouldn't do Wi-Fi. I mean, I couldn't use Wi-Fi because I didn't have any internet. And so I was just, it was like everything I did. You just don't realize how dependent you are on the internet, from researching things or, looking at ideas and just everything under the sun. Hi, Sharon, how are you? And there is Susan with So Inspired Designs, and Deborah, hi there. Yeah, this pack is really fun. So let's take a quick look at it. This is a fun page here, and so this is what's on the back side of this. And if you get just the paper pack, there's 2 sheets of each of these, and then they've got the little, we call them the zip strip, where you can take off that 1/2 inch, and you take off the 1/2 inch, and it still is a 12 by 12 paper, the rest of it. So you just have to, do that. This has got this green and this blue print on both sides of that. And let's see what we've got. And then there is this really pretty floral pattern. Isn't this gorgeous? This pink floral. I think that is a gorgeous paper. And then this on the back. So there's all kinds of goodies on the back of here. and sometimes when you've got really busy prints, this is one of those kinds of papers that I'm always talking about, just chopping it up and using it for card bases, or not the base, but like a background, and I like to do that. This is another one that if you like just cut out sections or tear a strip, that can make it a nice option for that as well. Who else have we got on here? Hi, Martha. Yeah, yes, true. The weather has really been messing with all of the internet things too. Oh my goodness. So between weather and internet issues last week, it was really something else. And then I thought I was free and clear, and then I had more issues this morning, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I've been up for hours and hours, and I thought I'd have time to get everything all set. However, things did not happen the way I was planning, and I'm just like, wow. I hope this doesn't continue into the week like this either. Hi, Deborah. So, another Deborah. So, this is what I think we're going to do. I found this sweet little picture of my granddaughter. I was looking through some files that I had, and I came across this. They had actually been from my daughter's phone, and I think years ago, I think she was getting ready to change phones, and so I pulled some pictures off of there that she wanted to make sure that she had, and so I found this in there. So I decided, no, that is so cute. And she just had her birthday. I posted this the other day. She just had her birthday. So she is 17 now. Oh my goodness. What a sweetie. But I found this picture, and I honestly don't even remember her ever wearing bonnets. I don't remember Jenny ever putting her in bonnets, but I just thought this was so sweet. And so I printed it off, and this one has got, see the, well, wait, first of all, I printed it like this, one of the settings that I had. And so it was kind of small. It didn't even, it's kind of a square. Well, no, it's not quite square, but it's very small. And so I put it on here, and it had so much border everywhere. So I thought, well, let me try to, do it again. Well, the next time I printed it, look at the lines that we've got going through it. So then I tried to clean out the print nozzles on the printer, and so that started to do pretty good. And then I thought, well, I think part of the reason it is such a low quality photo in the first place, and so I stuck it in one of my digital programs to try and boost up the DPI, which is dots per inch. And so, usually you figure to do a print out of any kind of an image that you want at least 300 DPI. So I went in there, and a lot of times you can kind of change it, and just for making sizes that are for scrapbooking, you can bump it up enough that it will, it looks good. So then I printed it, and then I found a different paper to use, and then it completely changed the tone with the different setting that I used. I'm like, oh my goodness, so I've got, a bad one, I've got one that's not so hot, and completely different, color tones. And so I thought, well, we'll just play around with that. But this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. It doesn't really matter. Even if I had something this grainy and, that just was such poor quality, and let's say I didn't have any way to bump it up, or, I didn't have any more ink, and this is what I was doing, and it came out like that, you know what? Just use it. You guys, a not so great photo, a bad photo is better than none. And I don't know anywhere else that this picture exists other than, this really sad quality one. But hey, do I care? No. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Linda. So thanks for joining me, everybody. And, and I think this will be fun. I wanted to bring back I always say I do scrapbooking, and I haven't done any in ages and ages. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do just kind of some basics and talk about some basic design elements. I know a lot of people, we have people all the time who are just getting started with their paper crafting or memory keeping. And so, I always think that it is fun to, help those people. And, not everybody comes in at different stages, right? And so I thought it would be fun today to just, work on something real basic. I did not grab any tape runner. Oh, let's see. Actually, I thought I did. Hang on one second. It seems like I'm always looking for stuff, but I've got some up here. Both of these are the dotty kind, but it'll give us something to, oh, there it is, right there. It's right there by my glue. You guys, I was looking at a replay the other day, and my goodness, I spent 4 minutes trying to find something that I thought was on my desk, and I thought, these poor people, I just love them for hanging out with me in all my craziness. So Martha says she has a cheap thermal printer. It does the job, not great quality, but it's okay. Well, and that works. It gives you a chance to print some things out. Yes, Sharon, you're right. The memory is still there regardless of the photo quality. Yeah, and and it doesn't even matter what size it is, which brings me to another thing. If you're working like in a traveler's notebook, or I've seen people even do like journals, which is mostly a calendar, and they will just use the little small photos and put some in there. And it's enough to kind of remember, to jog your memory about something that happened, and I think that's a lot of fun. So I think today, I'm just going to go ahead and use this page for the background, okay? And I think no matter however I finally get this to work, or whatever I decide to use, I think that this will be kind of pretty. I really was trying to get it with more of these sepia tones, and I think that'd be pretty. But I tell you what, with this pinkish color, this one that printed out more with this pink tone, I think that's kind of fun as well, because we're going to have some pink colors in this. So today, the one that we're going to work on today, the design that we call this, oh, let me trim this off. The design that we're going to work with today is basically like a shelf. And it's like that's what we're going to start with. As besides our picture, we're going to start with a kind of an element that is like a shelf, and it gives us somewhere to ground our design and to to put our pictures on. And I already know that I want this little strip of pink, and so I'm going to cut it right now at the same time. And you can make a shelf in different ways. You could do, strips of your papers. I can't get that on there. I can't find where it is. And if you wanted to, you even could, pull down into this and almost look like you have two papers, if you want to do it that way. But let's just cut that piece off. I kind of have a little white on there too. Okay. My hands are so dry. Having a hard time picking the papers up. Okay, so for our shelf today, what we're going to do is I'm going to use this element here, and I'm going to cut it off. It's going to give us some design already here. And I'm all about using things that are, kind of, they make it easy. They make it fast and easy. Hi, Molly. Hey, Kathy. So, yes, it's even still chilly here, you guys. I don't know what it is right now, but when I got up this morning, it was only 34, and we'd been having drizzly rain. So I was glad that it was, that's what we were sitting at, so that we didn't have, a bunch of frozen roads. Now, I think, if I cut this off right here, it's going to just give me this white strip down here. But you know what? I think I'm okay with that, because we can either add or take away from that. And then when I get over here, I am going to, you know what, I'm just going to do kind of a rough cut around here because I'm going to fussy cut around this stuff. And I mean, it's like, you know, it's going to end up being kind of like this. I can't really, you know, get into the details of that. So some of that is kind of going to look like a sticker. And that's okay. So let me get out my little fuzzy cut scissors here. Yeah, Susan, isn't that the best? I love the pink tones as well. Good morning, Lisa. How are you? So let's just go ahead and we're just going to kind of work on doing a little fussy cutting here. And, you know, sometimes you can either cut right up to your design or you can cut like around it. Like there's no way that I'm going to be able to cut into and make perfect cuts around all of this floral design. And if you'll notice, I am twisting my paper and not really my scissors all the time. I tell you what, this long strip is going to get in my way, but I need the long strip. And so we're just going to kind of go around it, and it's kind of going to give like a little bit of a sticker effect. And so we'll just do that. Fussy cutting is not my favorite. A lot of people, you know, it seems like people either really like it or they really don't like it. I'm kind of in the middle on that. I know there are so many things that you can use. You can, like this. When I looked at that and I was thinking about the on the shelf design, I'm like, well, why wouldn't I just use this? I can use like it has like a ready-made cluster. And you can, you know, jazz it up. Oh my goodness, don't we love using those Nuvo products? Oh my goodness, I love them. And stickles, and you know, we'll use some little rhinestones if we want, pearls, all the good stuff, you guys. Now I'm just gonna, some of this I'm gonna go around pretty tight, and then once I get up here, let's just go kind of around here. And then I think, because it's going to end up at the edge anyway, let's see how that looks. Let's kind of trim it off a little bit more. I only like the way that ended up. Oh, maybe I should have left it. It's going to be okay. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. I want to kind of get into this spot here, though. I tell you, that long strip is kind of driving me bonkers. Okay. Hey, Estella, how are you? Okay, so now we got that. So this is going to be kind of our starting point. So we've got this here. And so when you do this, you don't want it all. Now this is going to be a little bit different because normally I would have my shelf up a little bit more. What do I do with my photos? Oh my goodness. I gotta have my photos to figure out what I'm doing. There we go. And let's go ahead and trim these out. Just gonna cut this one. I really would love to get this color, this tone to work. So I'm gonna have to see if I can't mess around with my print settings. And thank goodness I've got one of those EcoTank printers, so I can just, I don't feel so bad with all of the, you know, messing around I do with how much ink I use. You know. Hey, Charlotte. Oh, here she is from the North Pole. Oh, -40. Yeah, that's pretty cold. I know I had a friend up in Canada, and she was telling me that that was kind of the temperatures that they've been hovering around. So now then, we want our picture to be on the shelf here. And I think, let's see, I don't want that to be, normally I would have that come up around here, but I think that ends up being awfully close to the middle. I don't really like things in the middle. You know, it's all about just playing around with it. And who knows, you know, maybe we do go ahead and slide it over here. If we're going to slide it over there, I see this needs trimmed a little bit closer along this camera. Just a tiny bit. But so you just put your, you know, just mess around with it and get it where you want it. I like the white around the picture because it kind of makes it pop. And one of the things I like to do is just kind of lay it out, play around with it. And so to add to our shelf here, I'm going to put another piece right here. I don't think I want this whole white piece extending clear across here. So let's see about, actually maybe we could pop it up a little bit. And if we put it up there, put some pink down here, we still need a place to put our journaling. And I think what I would do is I think I would run the journaling off the bottom. And I don't really know a lot about this picture at all. I didn't take the picture. I don't know where they were or anything. I only know who it was. And I know, well, I would have an idea of, you know, where it was. And I can, you know, just put a little bit of a spot down here for some journaling, or, you know, maybe just kind of put it right here for a little bit of interest. My preference would have been to have had this as a rectangle, you know, more of a rectangular photo, like the whole 4x6, like this, and, you know, run it along here. But we've got such a giant cluster here that it is really taking on a lot of, you know, I don't know. I almost want to cut this part off through here and take that off, which I may do that. I'll have to mess around with it some. But anyway, so you've got this shelf design here. You've got to put something along here. I think I would probably trim this off here. Let's trim this off here and give it like just a little bit of a dovetail. So we don't just have, and one good way to do a dovetail is to snip straight up the center and then from each corner. And then that way you can get it pretty even. So I like to use that method for that. So we put that there, and then I think I'll dovetail both sides of this. Let's go ahead and, I don't know. You guys, I do not claim to be a total expert. I just kind of go with what I feel looks good. And I think I would cut it off here. Hi Donna, how are you? Get some of this stuff off of the table. And you know, it's all, and this is why, you know, you can just lay it out and play around with it, right? Until you're happy with the way it looks. And you know, there's no right or wrong. Although I've talked to you about, you know, this is a basic design, which it is. You know, you can make it yours. And sometimes you go back at one and you think, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. And that's fine. You know what the important part is that you have the picture, you have the memory, and, you know, that's the most important, right? And so we've got this here. And then I think I would put a little bitty, where's a piece of white? Oh, that's heavy, heavy. Oh, I don't have any white cardstock laying out. Well, that's weird. So weird. Let me see what's right here. Oh, here it is. Oh, that is not white. That is something else I was printing on, and it's not white. You know what? Let me grab just a piece of printer paper so we can continue with our design, and you can see what I'm talking about anyway. If I really don't have a lot of journaling and all I want to put is kind of the who it is and when, I have a good idea of, she's not very old, and so since I know when her birthday is, I can easily, you know, just put a year on here. And maybe what we do is we just tuck that in here under all of this. Can't get it down there. And since, I mean, we're really pushing it across the bottom here. I mean, we're really close to the bottom. But if I get this up, and you know, when you look at the main part of your photo, a good rule of thumb is for it to be like on places that end up on thirds of your paper. So if you were going to think about thirds, like you've got 3 lines here and 3 going across this way. And it's kind of the same thing about like when you're taking a photo. If you can kind of, you know, place your interest in where those lines meet, where one of those lines meets, you're going to end up with, you know, a more pleasing layout for your photo itself. And maybe, I don't know, that's kind of, I don't know, if I put it up here, that's going to kind of look silly. I think I would. And I'm just going to put such a small amount of anything there. I think I would just put it there. Now, we've got all of this down here. So, I mean, it's kind of like, well, what in the world is going on? But here's what we can do. We can take that same piece of paper, and I noticed it had this fun information up here. And so let's cut some of that out and see how that would look. I'm going to first cut, I don't need the green because the paper that we're using is already green. And you can use, you know, this is such a soft, subtle print that I don't mind using that for the whole background of this layout. You can certainly use plain colored cardstock, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut it. I'm having so much trouble finding where stuff lines up today. I'm not sure why that is. Just going along with my Monday, right? So let's trim this out. And let's just cut this off. And now the funny thing about this, you know, maybe even use a little bit of this paper down here on the bottom for a place to write. That wouldn't be a bad deal either. And then you've also pulled in some of these lines and this color into another spot. But we're also doing that if we just go ahead and put this up here at the top. And I think I would put it right here in the corner. Can we see that? And it's really kind of interesting because it's really about photography. Look at, it's got something, how many negatives that there were, the number of prints. And I thought, well, that is kind of cool to use, you know, on a layout with a photo. And, you know, it kind of looks very vintage, you know, of what's going on there, which, you know, if you use a picture that you have, you know, got not full color and you've got something like this, you know, that's kind of a lot of fun too. You know, I'm not so sure that I don't want to like move that off farther off the page so that we've got it like this instead. not so much. Just pull it off some. And you've got this spot right here too that you can, you know, write something in. You could put a little bit more information in if you wanted to. But, you know, that's how you use, you know, that's kind of a real basic version of the shelf layout. And, you know, so I don't want to keep you real long today. I thought that would just be fun to kind of come on and talk about that. And like I said, I'm not going to finish this right now. I would never want to make anybody sit and watch me think. That could be a long process. I'm one of these people, like, there's so many options and so many choices, and it's like, am I going to do it this way? Am I going to do it that way? I'm not sure yet. But, you know, then, oh my goodness, we could use some of our Nuvo and give it some more texture along here. And let's grab out that other photo too. This one. You know, even if we do this one, she looks like, you know, she is kind of a little bit more dark complected than some of the rest of us, but she really looks that way in this photo. But, you know, even that one doesn't look so bad. I kind of like this. I wish it wasn't so dark. But again, we've got a bunch of these pink tones that really kind of pulls together. And so, you know, we've got the little bit of pink up here and some of these same little gray lines going across here. And if you wanted to, you know, you could even put a tiny bit of, you know, and some of the fun thing is just layers and layers of goodness. And you could even put a little bit of, you know, another paper down here. And this is how I like to check how I like things. I'll just put like a little corner of something and, you know, see how I like it sticking out. You know, just use the corners and you can see what you think of something. I've got that blue sticking out here from that set. But, you know, I'm like, no, I don't really like that. You know, that it does nothing for it. And of course you can do some inking of the edges. It looks like this would be a great thing to do some inking. I typically don't add a lot of dimensionals under some of this stuff because, and I don't use sometimes a lot of adhesive because I usually put them in page protectors if I am doing some paper scrapbooking. I have done an awful lot of digital scrapbooking too. I like to do both. I like to do the digital and have them printed out, and I still print them out and put them in page protectors like that too. You can really give things a super dimensional look doing digital scrapbooking, and so it's all fun. I kind of got to where I decided at one point I could almost do paper scrapbooking faster than digital because I had so many digital elements that I would spend so much time going, oh, I think I remember having such and such, or, well, what could I use? Whereas if I would do paper scrapbooking, I would set out what I was going to use, and that was the limit. You know, that was only what I had to use, and that was what I would do. And you guys, you know, talking about scrapbooking, and be sure you do some kind of journaling, because somewhere down the line, people will want to know who it is. And I think, you know, a lot, there'll be a few years go down and somebody's going like, who is that baby? You know, who was that? You know, where was that? Where was this taken? And you have just that tiny bit of information to jog your memory. And, you know, there's nothing great about keeping memories if you look back on stuff and you don't know what's going on, right? And even if you don't like your handwriting, at some point, somebody's going to want to see what your handwriting looked like. I do not like using my handwriting because I just write terrible. I never had really nice handwriting in the first place. And then when years and years went by that I was doing nothing but typing, it didn't help. It didn't help my handwriting situation at all. And so, you know, you just have to live with it. You just have to do it. But keep the things. And another thing, something that really changed how I did some memory keeping was one year I participated in a challenge, and it was called Load, and that stood for Lay Out a Day. And we had a theme, an overall theme for the whole month. And then let me stop there. Linda, do you write on the back of the page or the photos? Which are you talking about? I'm curious. Which is wonderful to make sure if you just keep your photos just as they are, at least you have the information, and that's wonderful. I commend you. Wherever you're writing it, I commend you for doing that. On the page, right on the back of the page. Okay. Why do you do that? Why don't you put it on the front? Do you not like your handwriting, or do you have secret things that you don't want everybody to read? Because I just put it all on the front. Because I don't want to have to take it out. Well, and if you don't put them in page protectors, that's another thing too. I don't want to have to dig mine out of the page protector to see what's behind them. But for the Load challenge, you guys, which is going to come up again in February, there's another one that's going to go on. And if you go to scraphappy.org, you can find out more about it. But the first time that I ever did it, it completely changed the way that I did scrapbook pages. Years ago when I started, I just would think I needed to squeeze as many photos onto a page as I could get, because it wasn't cheap when we started doing that. And everybody, the company that was telling us what to do and do all kinds of crazy stuff and cut out our photos and shapes and everything else, that we were all doing it. We were all in. You had to use the special scrapbook pages. You had to do everything, and it was not cheap. And as a young mother with three small children, and I was a stay-at-home mom, I really couldn't afford to spend tons and tons of money on that stuff. And so I wanted to get the biggest bang for my buck by putting as many photos on a page as I could get. And so when I did the first time I did a Load challenge, I really hadn't scrapbooked in a long time. And so I found out about it, and I thought, well, that would be kind of fun. Well, what we did was we had the overall theme for the month, and broken down each day there was like a prompt. Now the prompt, you could kind of take it any way that you wanted to. It was just that, a prompt. It was something to prompt you into some memory that you might have, and how loosely that you interpreted that to make your page, that was up to you. And then we all had a Flickr account that we would put them in. We had a group, and we would load our pages in there. And so we were trying to do one a day. And there were times, it just seems like February was never a good time. It was like I would get a few of them done as years went by, and I might not be able to finish. But there have been months that I actually did one page every month. And and we would laugh about it, going, even if you don't end up being able to finish the whole month with one every day, however many pages that you completed, it was probably more pages than you were going to have done had you not participated in the challenge. And the most fun about it was it became such a wonderful community of friends. And then we got to where we would have an in-person reunion. But and not everybody needed to cover up everything that they put about what the page was about. We got to read about people. We got to read about their families, things they like to do. And it really was, a fabulous thing. But by doing that and doing those prompts, so many times there was only maybe one photo to put on the page. And it was all that you had. And sometimes you had to be creative with how you got a photo to use for whatever the story was. It would make you think of a story that you hadn't thought of in a long time. And so it truly was about stories. So memory keeping is about the stories and the photos. And so please don't omit capturing details of what is going on, because trust me, down the road you'll want to know. If it was important enough to put it on a page, it's important enough to write something about. And maybe you type it out, maybe you use a printer and you really despise your handwriting. Go ahead and print it out if you want to, but save it. Save those memories. And when you get something that you really enjoy, they make frames that you can use, and not everybody does 12 by 12 pages. And that's another thing. You can do whatever size you want. We finally decided, my daughter and I, who did a lot of scrapbooking with me, we finally decided that 12 by 12 pages sometimes were really hard to deal with. And a lot of people say that they'll find that maybe 8 by 8 pages are much better for them and they really enjoy them. Or maybe they do a regular 8.5 by 11, and then they just keep them in regular, binders. It's easy to find binders that 8.5 by 11 pages go in. That's our regular size paper. So, it just depends on, how big you want to work. But I really hope that you will, get some of those pictures off of your cameras and put some of those memories where you can enjoy them, where you can see them, right? My goodness. Did you know I have a lot to say about that and a lot of thoughts? Hey, Patty, I don't think I said hello to you. So just a lot to think about, right? I'm so glad that you were here with me today, and I'm going to leave it at that. And so go try to do a little layout that's on a shelf. It's just a way to ground your picture, your image. It gives you a place to start. So I hope you will try that. And I want to see some pictures. And if you want to come on over to the Facebook group, I have my Artful Adventures Clubhouse. If you want, it's a private group. And so if you want to come, hang out over there with us, do that. We haven't been real busy over there, but I want to change that. So if you would rather, post some things like that, not just public, come on over. I'd love to have you. And let's see, Donna says she does memory keeping in her journal now. She has a Kodak step, and she has a smaller picture. Is that what those are called? I know you can get the little printers that print out the little small photos. And, sometimes we laugh about it, but, you can take a regular 4x6 photo, and you can, use it. You can put one 4x4, you got a square, and then you could do 2x2s. You can print 6 2x2s across here. You can do 2 3x4s. So, I mean, even if you print these out on a regular, size 4x6 regular photo size paper, you really have a lot of options to play around with that. And so I used to think, who in the world would want a picture that was 2x2? How could you even see anything? But I have made some of those once in a while, and it's amazing. I mean, you can see what's going on in a tiny picture if you put your glasses on. But you guys, thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. I'm going to be back on again tomorrow. Let's see. Tomorrow we're going to do some, it's like about new techniques or either new to you or techniques you haven't used in a while. And so I'm going to do a couple of things that is a fun way to make some backgrounds. So I will see you tomorrow. And yeah, Donna, do send me a page in the clubhouse. I'll come on over. It's in Facebook, and it's called My Artful Adventures Clubhouse. And you know what? You can find it in my link tree. I think that's on there. But you know what? I'll make a post and invite people to come on over. So look just on my main page, and I will make a post so you can more easily find it. Okay? You guys have a wonderful day, and make some memories. Not only just, keep them and put them on, something you can look at, but go make some memories. Talk to you later. Bye-bye, everyone.